Absolutely. Number 3 strategy is what I call rewarding success. And every time you do something positive that benefits you, you're rewarding success. And the whole theme of our program here is the success formula, right?
Absolutely.
If you have a bad habit, what are you rewarding?
I guess the feeling, that's about it.
Yeah, you're not rewarding success, are you?
No, you're not. No, you're just reinforcing it.
Right. So if we can think instead of, a good habit is going to help me with success and feeling good about myself, so why not reward myself with the good habit of success instead of the bad habit that leads me to modifying or taking away from my success? So in order to reward success, you have to reward every single instance of it. In other words, every time you do the good thing. So in the case of my son, for example, every time he didn't bite his nails and he was using his nail package instead to groom his nails, and I saw him, I'd say, way to go. There's one time you didn't do it. Well done.
Great. Yeah, that was positive reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement. So every time you have a small success, you have to positively reinforce yourself. Absolutely critical.
Okay.
And then number 4, this is a really interesting one, is if you do have a bad habit, schedule the bad habit to a limited period of time. Schedule
What do you mean schedule it? What do you mean by scheduling? I don't get it.
So let me use the example of my son again. I said, okay. You're biting your nails, and you're not going to be able to cure this instantly overnight. It's going to take some time, slow in improvement, etc., with the good habits.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find yourself that you are biting your nails and you slip, okay, look at your watch and you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to limit myself to only 5 minutes of doing this, and then I'm going to stop.
The reason being?
The reason being is you're now developing the discipline to say, you know what, I can stop this anytime I want by changing the amount of time I put into it.
Okay.
As opposed to saying, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. So, for example, we take the example of the drinking. The guy comes home and he starts out, only having a drink, a glass of wine a day, and it starts to increase. What he can do is say, okay, if I've got that bad habit and I can't quite replace it with a good one yet, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to limit myself to drinking between 5 o'clock and 5:15. 5:15 comes around, it stops.
Okay. All right. In addition to everything else we've talked about.
Right.
Okay.
So you limit the amount of time you spend on the bad habit, and then you start decreasing it.
How long do you know? How long do you know to kind of before make an attempt to decrease it? Are you holding at a certain level? At what point do you know to decrease it?
Yeah, that becomes a judgment thing. You certainly don't want to start out by saying, okay, I'm only going to drink for 4 hours.
Well, and I guess we're probably talking about a more extreme example in terms of drinking, but in thinking from what I've seen, I'm thinking, gosh, you're going to be holding at that 5 or 10 minutes for a long, long time before they go to 4 minutes and 3 minutes. I don't know.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
Just the process of saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself a time limit.
Okay.
Just by doing that alone, you're starting to train your brain to limit it. It's much easier to do that than to say to yourself, I'm not going to do it.
I gotcha. Okay.
To go from 0 to 100% instantly is almost impossible.
No, I definitely agree with that. I can definitely see that. Okay.
So giving yourself time will do it.
All right.
Okay?
Good.
All right. So what I want to talk about is some keys, some strategies that will help you get rid of these bad habits. All right?
All right.
Okay, key number 1. If you have to or want to quit, you have to want to change the habit or quit the habit more than you want to keep it. In other words, there's a motivation thing here.
Well, yeah.
Do you really want to stop smoking? A lot of people say, yeah, I want to stop smoking, but actually they don't.
You have to do it of free will, presumably, right? Not because someone held a gun to your head to do this.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is a motivation thing. You have to want to stop it more than you want to do it. So in the case of my son, with the biting of the nails, he really wanted to stop biting his nails. He said, God, these are awful. He used to keep his hands in his pockets, you know?
Yeah,
because he didn't want people to see it. He says, I really want to stop this, but I just don't know how. So I said, great, you're starting out at the right place, and that is you want to stop it more than you want to do it.
Right.
So that's key number one.
He was fed up about it. He was fed up.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
He's fed up. So what I tell people is commit yourself to 60 consecutive days. Here's the thing about training. It comes from athletes.
60 days.
Commit yourself to 60 consecutive days of not doing it.
Okay.
Okay? If you slip and you go back to the bad habit in one of those days, you start over again on day one.
Ah, the clock resets.
Clock resets.
Okay.
So here's a motivation for you. Do you really want to reset the clock over and over again?
You know, I'm thinking to myself, it probably helps to have an accountability partner.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
That's definitely a strategy. Anyway,
I can see yourself cheating the system, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. And where this comes from, Matthew, is research shows that to establish a new pattern or habit or thinking, repeating it every day for 60 days, you have sufficient enough memory and neural pathways in your brain to make it as strong as the old one.
Really? Yeah, I guess so. I can see 60 days.
But if you do it, let's say 40 days, and then you don't do it for 5 or 6, it's just like it's gone, and you have to start all over again.
Oh, God. Really? I guess we're that vulnerable, huh?
Yes. It's just not locked in enough until you do it the 60th day.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right. Key number 2. You have to gain by the touch burn, what's called the touch burn experience. Remember growing up as a little kid and you put your hand on the stove?
or sticking your finger in a socket?
You got to stick it. You did that too, eh?
I think I did that too. Yeah. It's a real sharp pain. It's like, oh, God, I'm not going to do that again.
You won't be doing that again. So that's the touch burn experience. So what we have to learn is that when we do the bad habit, it's like touching something that's really hot that hurts. We have to mentally associate. You know what? Every time I do this, it's like touching or sticking my finger in the socket. That's what I'm doing to myself. So you associate in your mind the bad habit with something that's really painful.
Wow. Okay. Are you talking about like physical pain, emotional pain, or
physical pain.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah. So what I did with my son with biting the nails, I said, okay, every time you bite your nails, I want you to close your eyes and associate biting your nails with sticking your finger in a socket in the house, and because you remember what that felt like.
Actually, gosh, when you bring it up, I remember thinking about it right now.
So it brings back a vivid memory. And for other people, it's being bitten by a dog or slipping and falling, something that's painful. Yeah. So what we do is we associate the bad habit with something that's painful, and then you don't want to do it so much.
Okay, I like that idea. The association with pain, physical pain.
You have to associate it with something that's really awful. So another example I used with the client, I said he used to eat junk food all the time, constantly eat junk food, and he was 150 pounds overweight. So I had him go through a mental exercise of visualizing that junk food was like eating dog crap.
Oh, God. All right, that's pretty dramatic.
Yeah, because he had an experience when he was young about falling into some dog crap when he was going for a walk.
Oh, no.
So I had him reconnect that and make a connection between the junk food and what it was like to have his face in dog crap.
Wow, okay. You don't mess around.
Every time he thought of junk food, he'd just about barf, and I said, I can't do that anymore because it just reminds me of the dog crap now.
Wow. Okay.
So you're making a connection to something that's unpleasant or painful, one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Key number 3. Understand that when you develop a bad habit, it just doesn't happen in one big step all at once. When people become smokers, they don't become chronic smokers the first time they take a smoke. They usually get quite ill, actually, the first cigarette they had.
Yeah, it was nasty when I tried it. Ugh. It actually broke me of any temptation, to be honest with you.
Right. Remember the first time you got really drunk and sick to your stomach? That's not a pleasant feeling, is it?
No, it's not. No.
So what happens when we develop habits, it's like my son biting his nails, is that he just, the first time he just probably just noticed his nail was dirty or something and decided to bite it instead of cut it with a pair of scissors. And then it was just once, and then it's twice, and then it's 3 times.
I gotcha.
So we develop bad habits in small steps over time, and then they're reinforced. It's not all at once.
Okay.
So you have to do the same thing with a good habit. You develop it in small steps over time and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until it's as strong as the bad habit.
Well, one presumes that when you're trying to reinforce a good habit, you're thinking pleasurable thoughts or really happy thoughts.
Exactly.
I got you.
Exactly. So something pleasurable, and you're repeating it 60 days in a row. Every single day. You're doing it over and over and over again. Okay?
Okay, got it.
Okay, number 4. It's a thing called triggers, is putting yourself in an environment that triggers the bad habit. So for a smoker, where is he going to be triggered to smoking by a certain kind of environment? Where is he going to go?
Lots of times it could be their friends or the bars or wherever it's commonly smoked. I mean, those are kind of naturally where it's going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So what you do is you determine where are your triggers that are going to make that happen, and you avoid going to those places that can trigger you with a bad habit.
Do you think that's always realistic, though?
You'd be surprised how often it's realistic. So for 60 days, you mean for 60 days a person
I see what you're saying. 60 days. Okay, I forgot about that. Right. 60 days. Yes, you can do that.
So you could probably do it for even longer. Say, hey, you know what? I'm just not going to go to a bar and meet my buddies to go drink because I know what'll happen.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to turn them down. For the next 2 months solid, I'm not going to do that because it's a trigger for me.
Well, yeah, okay. One presumes he cares more about quitting smoking than seeing his buddies in like 60 days. But
right, which was principle number 1 here. You need to want to do it more than you want to do. You not do it more than you want to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. I like that.
Okay. Next key is that when you want to quit a bad habit, you take small steps in a specific time frame. So I talked about 60 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you always think in terms of a small time frame. Now, you can break the 60 days down and just have a chart on the wall. And you have all 60 days on that chart. And every day that you go and you don't do it, you put a big check mark there or a smile sign.
Actually, I can see that being a positive thing. It's like, another day gone. Another day gone.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's a positive enforcement in a very small step that you're giving yourself. Look, I'm up to, I just got 22 in a row.
Yeah.
Hey, 23 is coming along.
Yeah, I can see how that might work. Okay. Yeah. I like that.
Okay. Key number 6, this is what you talked about, and you're right on target here, is you have to be accountable to someone else other than you. Sorry, that's my other phone. You have to be accountable. You have to be accountable to someone else other than you. You have to tell someone, you know what, I'm trying to break this bad habit of such and such. And I want to report to you on a regular basis how I'm doing. And I want you to check with me and ask me how I'm doing every single week. Or even every day.
You might have a tough time finding someone that wants the job.
Well, you think about it, though. If I said to you, Matthew, hey, listen, I'm trying to break the bad habit of, scratching my head constantly like that when I'm talking. Because it's irritating for people, when you do that. I need your help. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a call on Skype or, so you can see me or meet you personally. Mm-hmm. And I want you to keep track of how many times I do that.
Excuse me. I would do it for you because I think, you are obviously receptive to it. But I guess I'm going to be uncooperative co-host because there's some people I don't know if I would want to, even if they asked. I think it would just be too much. Too much baggage on me.
Yeah, you've got to have an accountability person that says, I'm prepared to do that. Someone you know well. someone who wants to help you with that particular habit. And I think that's the way in which if you don't have someone else to be accountable, it's really hard to break the habit.
Well, I'd like to think that if, since we were talking some more of the serious habits, I think you're going to be able to find someone to help you.
Exactly.
Versus something minor. Okay.
So that's another one.
Right.
Key number 7 is you have to make your habits consistent with the kind of person you are. So, for example, if you say to people, you know what, I'm a kind, compassionate person. I don't judge people, and in my conversation with people, I'm sarcastic, or I interrupt other people constantly, showing disrespect. Then I'm not being consistent with the kind of person I say I am. If I say, you know what, I really believe in good health, let's go to McDonald's and have a couple Big Macs.
That's a little hypocritical, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, I really believe in exercise. Let's watch the football games all day long today. Grab the beer and peanuts.
Yeah, we're a little out of sync.
So whatever habits you've got in life, they often are a reflection of what you say, the way in which you want to live your life. So you have to make sure that the habits you have in life are consistent with the kind of person you say you are. That's a really big key as well. Okay, the next one. Sacrifice or fast. Okay? There's a principle here, and that is when you develop self-control, when you're trying to get rid of a bad habit, you're really either trying to do one of two things. You're saying, you know what? For the sake of something else that I want, I'm prepared to sacrifice this. Okay. For the sake of my good health, I'm prepared to lose weight and get my weight down. Because I know that if I'm going to be obese or overweight, I'm going to create some serious health problems. For the sake of being healthy, I know that I need to exercise. So I need to sacrifice the amount of couch time that I'm spending in the house in order to do that.
The word sacrifice seems to be sort of a negative connotation. Doesn't that kind of hold kind of a negative reinforcement of sorts?
Yeah, it's about choice, Matthew. When I say sacrifice, it's about choosing. Okay, what do you want? Do you want to have lots of fat food that tastes good, that has a lot of sugar and fat in it, that makes you temporarily feel good? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to be healthy? Which are you going to choose?
Be healthy.
All right. So it's a choice. All right. So aren't you sacrificing the other in order to get the other thing? Yeah.
Well, it is a sacrifice. I just didn't expect that you would actually say it in those terms.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. So it's a strong way of looking at it through language to say, you know what? I'm prepared to sacrifice this bad habit in order to have this good habit. Just like we sacrifice a lot of things in our life. When we have children, we sacrifice a lot of our own interests for our kids. You do that all the time. You sacrifice for family members. You sacrifice for friends.
Yeah. But I guess I've just never heard it said in that way. It's just sort of subconscious or unconscious, or it just goes unspoken. But you think that it needs to be said.
It needs to be said. You know what? I need to sacrifice here. Good.
Okay, good.
And the last one is make reporting back to yourself a priority. What I recommend to people is that when you're trying to establish the good habit to replace the bad one, is that once a week you talk to yourself.
Okay. One assumes positive self-talk?
Yeah. You just say, you know what, Ray, I'm going to have a conversation with you right now. And I'm looking up at the wall chart, and I noticed that, you did really well there for 40 days in a row, and then you fell off the wagon. It's okay to make a mistake. And I know you can stick at it and make the 60 days, and I'm proud of how well you did there. Well done. I'm going to make a little mini celebration here that I did 40 days. Now I'm going to get back on the wagon again.
Okay.
So that self-talk is absolutely critical in establishing the new habit and reinforcing yourself. Instead of, and this is often what happens with people on diets, right? Yeah. Is the diet doesn't work, they quit, and then where do they go? They start criticizing themselves and beating up on themselves. right?
Okay.
They start judging themselves. And that then decreases your motivation to start again and try again.
They start blaming the diet.
Yeah, but most often you'll find people who are on diets, they have extremely negative views of themselves when they're not successful.
No, I would have to agree with you on that. Yeah. I can definitely see that happening.
So those are the keys, Matthew, that I wanted to cover today about breaking bad habits. And just to kind of recap and talk about the most essential points there, understand that we all have them. Mm-hmm. They're the same as good habits. They go into the unconscious mind. They're automatic. They never go away unless you replace them with another habit that's equally powerful. And the way to do that is to avoid triggers and places, consistently repeat that bad habit that gives you as great a reward as the good habit. The good habit that gives you as much a reward as the bad habit.
Okay.
And to keep at it for the 60 days in a row. And if you do that, you can break bad habits and establish new good ones.
All right. Well, I hope, I'm pretty sure our listeners are going to be thinking about it like I am. I mean, you gave a lot of good advice here, and you broke it down very clearly and gave a lot of examples. And so I think it's going to be very, very helpful. And, bad habits seem to work our way into our lives. So I guess we have to be really regimented about keeping an eye on it. And if they do sneak in, we got to do something about it.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you, listeners, for joining us on this episode of The Success Formula with Ray Williams. And we hope that you will join us on our very next episode. All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.